The fluorescent lights of Sterling Tower's marble lobby flickered at 11:47 p.m. when Marcus heard the sobbing. After 16 years as a night janitor, he'd learned that expensive buildings held expensive sorrows, but this cry was different, raw, childlike, terrified. He found her behind the fountain in the east corridor, a little girl, maybe 7 years old, pressed against the cold marble wall, her silk dress wrinkled, her patent leather shoes kicked off beside her. Tears streamed down her flushed cheeks as she gasped for air between sobs. "Hey there," Marcus said softly, setting down his cleaning cart. "You okay, sweetheart?" The girl looked up, her eyes wide with panic. She tried to speak but couldn't catch her breath. Marcus recognized the signs immediately. His daughter Emma used to have panic attacks just like this before the accident. He knelt slowly, keeping his distance. "It's all right. You're safe. I'm Marcus, and I clean this building every night. Can you tell me your name?" Lily, she managed between gasps. "That's a beautiful name. Lily, I'm going to help you feel better, okay? But I need you to trust me." She nodded frantically, still struggling to breathe. Marcus reached into his cart and pulled out a small bottle, the bubble solution he'd carried for 3 years now, ever since Emma passed. He'd bought it the day before the car crash, planning a surprise for her 8th birthday. He could never bring himself to throw it away. "Now, Lily, I'm going to blow some bubbles, and I want you to try to pop them. Think you can do that?" He unscrewed the cap and dipped the wand. As he blew gently, iridescent bubbles floated through the air, catching the light from the chandeliers above. They drifted lazily toward Lily, who blinked in surprise. "Come on," Marcus encouraged. "Get him before they touch the ground." Instinctively, Lily reached out and popped one. Then another. Her breathing began to slow as she focused on the bubbles dancing around her. "That's it," Marcus said, blowing more. "You're doing great. Try to take a deep breath and pop that big one over there." For 10 minutes, Marcus blew bubbles while Lily popped them, her panic gradually subsiding. She started to giggle when a particularly large bubble landed on her nose and popped without her touching it. "Feeling better?" Marcus asked. Lily nodded, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. "Thank you. Want to tell me what happened? Where are your parents?" "Mommy's in a meeting upstairs. The 42nd floor. She said it would only be 20 minutes, but it's been forever, and I got scared waiting alone, so I came looking for her, but I got lost, and the elevators need a special card," and fresh tears threatened to spill. "Whoa, whoa," Marcus said, blowing another stream of bubbles. "It's okay. We'll find your mom. I can access any floor in this building. But first, how about we play one more round? You look like you could break the record for most bubbles popped." As Lily smiled and reached for another bubble, Marcus didn't notice the woman watching from behind the marble pillar 20 feet away. Victoria Sterling had built a technology empire worth $8.3 billion through ruthless business decisions and 18-hour workdays. She'd been racing down the stairs after her assistant informed her that Lily had wandered off, her heart pounding with a fear she'd never felt in any boardroom. But she'd stopped cold when she found this scene. A janitor in a worn uniform, with kind eyes and patient hands, giving her daughter something Victoria's money had never been able to buy, a moment of pure, uncomplicated care. Victoria watched as Marcus pulled a granola bar from his lunch bag. "This is all I got, but you're welcome to it if you're hungry." "You sure?" Lily asked. "Absolutely. I had a daughter your age once. She loved these things. Where is she now?" Marcus's smile faltered for just a second. "She's an angel now, sweetheart. But she'd want me to share with you." Victoria's hand flew to her mouth. This man had lost his child, yet here he was, comforting hers with the gentleness of someone who understood a parent's worst nightmare. "Mr. Marcus," Lily said, munching the granola bar. "Can I ask you something? Why do you still carry bubbles?" Marcus looked at the bottle in his hand, his eyes distant. "Because I never got to give them to the person I bought them for. But tonight, I'm glad I had them. Sometimes the things that hurt us most can help us help others. I think your daughter would be happy you used them to help me." Marcus's eyes glistened. Yeah, I think she would." Victoria stepped forward then, her heels clicking on the marble. "Lily. Mommy." Lily ran to her mother, who dropped to her knees and wrapped her arms around her daughter. "I'm so sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. I lost track of time. Victoria looked up at Marcus, who was quietly gathering his cleaning supplies. Wait, please. Marcus paused, uncomfortable under the gaze of a woman whose face he'd seen on magazine covers in the building's lobby. Thank you, Victoria said, her voice breaking. Thank you for taking care of her. She pulled out her wallet. Please, let me. No, ma'am, Marcus said firmly but respectfully. I didn't do it for money. I did it because she needed help, and I was here. But surely I can. The best thing you can do, Marcus said gently, is get her home safe. Spend tomorrow with her if you can. Time's more valuable than any building. He nodded toward the tower around them. Trust me, I learned that the hard way. As Marcus turned to leave, Lily pulled away from her mother. Wait, Mr. Marcus, can I have the bubbles? To remember tonight. Marcus looked at the bottle, his last tangible connection to Emma. For 3 years, he'd clung to it like a lifeline. But as he looked at Lily's hopeful face, he felt something shift in his chest. Emma wouldn't want him holding onto grief. She'd want him spreading the joy she never got to have. Yeah, he said, his voice thick. Yeah, you can have them, Lily. You pop those bubbles whenever you feel scared, okay? And remember, you're braver than you think. Victoria watched this janitor, this stranger, give away what was clearly precious to him, and something cracked in the armor she'd built around her heart. What's your full name? Marcus Thompson, ma'am. Marcus Thompson, Victoria repeated. I won't forget it. 3 days later, Marcus was called to the building manager's office. He went with his heart hammering, sure he was being fired for some violation he didn't know he'd committed. Instead, he found Victoria Sterling waiting. Mrs. Sterling, he stammered. Is everything okay? Is Lily? Lily's fine. Better than fine. She hasn't had a nightmare since that night. Victoria stood. Mr. Thompson, I've spent 3 days investigating you. I know about Emma. I know you work 2 jobs to pay off her medical bills. I know you volunteer at the Children's Hospital every Sunday morning before your shift. Marcus shifted uncomfortably. I don't know what this is about, ma'am, but it's about the fact that you gave my daughter something money can't buy. Compassion. Real human kindness. Victoria slid an envelope across the desk. Inside is a check that will cover your debt and a job offer to run the new youth outreach program I'm starting in Emma's name. The Sterling Foundation for Children in Crisis will employ counselors, social workers, and mentors to help kids like Lily and Emma. I want you to oversee it. Marcus stared at the envelope, afraid to touch it. I'm just a janitor, ma'am. I don't have credentials or. You have something better. You have a heart that acts when others walk by. You have the kind of wisdom that comes from loss transformed into purpose. Victoria's eyes were bright. My daughter told me what you said about things that hurt is helping others. That's what this foundation will do. But I can't build it without you. Marcus opened the envelope with shaking hands. The check made him dizzy. The job description made him cry. Emma would have loved this, he whispered. Then help me make sure other Emmas get the support they need. And other Lilies get the help that saves them. Victoria extended her hand. Partners. Marcus took it, feeling the weight of 3 years of grief finally lifting, transforming into something that would honor his daughter's memory in a way he'd never imagined possible. Partners. 6 months later, the Sterling Foundation for Children in Crisis opened its doors. Marcus stood at the entrance beside Victoria and Lily, who clutched a bottle of bubbles and insisted on blowing them for every child who walked through the doors. Inside, the walls were painted with clouds and bubbles. On the main wall hung a portrait of a smiling little girl with Marcus's eyes, Emma Thompson, whose legacy would now reach thousands of children in crisis, all because her father carried bubbles in his pocket and chose compassion over convenience on a quiet Tuesday night. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness create the biggest ripples. Sometimes losing everything teaches you what truly matters. And sometimes, bubbles blown in the dark become beacons of hope that light the way home.